Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
And I am Johnny B.
I'm Brush and Quill.
And I'm Duncan FX.
But together we are...
Modeling for
Advantage.
Advantage. Oh, wasn't that a beautiful sound, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, one and all. Let's have a quick whiz through the chat. See, we got Rich John is here. Hi, buddy. We got Rosie Raccoon there. We got Josh Wood. We got Nick from Team Clueless Games. All having a bit of a chat. We got Rob J. Good evening, Rob J. I'm not sure we've come across you before, so welcome. We got Tony Halton is here, finishing touches to Battletech Mechs for Alpha Strike. Be interested to know how that goes. We're tempted by that. We got Subcommandante 73. Good evening, my friend, and friends of General Haig. Ahoy there, sailor. So, are we modeling for... Well done, yeah. Oh, Jason from Battle Knights is here. Matt Capelli and Stuart Hayes, the Mank Turner. All the people. What are we up to tonight, then? I am going to be putting some Vallejo Bronze Green on some Flames of War tanks. By Jay Bizzle's Flames of War 1944 Army. With a Cromwell troop.
I'm...
John?
Currently painting a Frenchman for Kaiser and an Italian man for me as a gladiator. Didn't you know? Not that you can see. So that's what I'm going to be doing, amongst other things. You, Mr. Brush, what are you doing, sir?
I'm putting some refractive green on my giant robot for Drop Zone.
Refractive
For myself.
Very nice.
Duncan?
What we got Duncan doing?
I've got to apply strong tone wash to a huge regiment of 15 mil. You can't see it. Dwarves on their cavalry.
Wow, it's amazing here.
Very nice. And where are they from?
These are from Battle Valor, which is a US company. They make a absolute ton of 15 mil fantasy stuff. But this is from Dragon Frog Games, do the UK distribution.
Oh, right, nice. Nice. I've not come across them. I might have to have a look if I'm mad enough to start doing fantasy in 15 mil as well as all the other scales.
Loads of little niche companies out there, man.
I think I know who Duncan's been watching.
Huh?
I think I know who Duncan's been watching.
All right, I see. Anyway, enough of that. Dylan! It's not Dylan. Duncan!
That's it.
What's the matter? Has work got you pushing too many pencils? Forget about that. Why don't you tell me about who you are and what you do on YouTube?
So I'm Duncan FX. I have a channel of the same name. I probably do myself a disservice by saying I'm a general kind of hobby YouTuber. Do lots of workbench updates, lots of community projects, that kind of stuff, and just share my work and kind of get involved with the community. I'm doing a lot of fantasy stuff, jumping on Kings of War Armada at the moment, and some 15 mil fantasy. But I've got videos for this, that, and everything. I kind of jump into every project that anyone suggests. People in the community might love.
All right. So are you a sucker for the YouTuber competition then? You know, this is what we're all doing this month and all that.
As long as the time scale's good. Sometimes they're too short, and as you know, I've got a 2-year-old daughter, so it's
yeah. Who's been very quiet tonight, or is she just locked in another room with her mother?
Both.
Okay. So Jason from Battle Knights, who also obviously does regular hobby updates and battle reports sometimes with Mr. Jay Bizzle here. He's a real life friend of ours.
And he shares your surname, Duncan.
He does.
Yeah.
I don't think we're related.
So there must be some relation. Must be.
Well, I don't think there is, but I need to talk to Jason.
I thought that's how it works, right? I thought that's how it works. If you've got the same surname, that's it.
Well, yeah, I think we're basically brothers.
Yeah.
I was born in Plymouth, in Devon, and
he's near it.
The naval connection from Devon to a lot of people who ended up in South Africa is suspiciously high. And even if you Google my surname in Cape Town, there's a LinkedIn profile from a guy called Devon Froud, which is far too much of a coincidence.
Right.
But my
Let's say
dad,
it's almost.
go on, sorry.
Let's say it's almost like we went all around the world at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What we Britishers, when we were
Yeah.
busy stealing other people's countries while they weren't looking.
Or are we?
Naturally.
All right, so yeah, that's Jason from Batnights then says, love your Saga Force. So Saga's an interesting one. Should we talk a little bit about that? Because I've never played it. I've seen you've done some stuff. I don't know whether Jason's done. I know he's done some hobby. I don't think he's done any bat reps yet, has he?
No, he's doing the same challenge. I think is it the 8-point build an army challenge that you're doing, Duncan?
Yeah, 8 points of Age of Magic.
Age of Magic, that's the one. Yeah, Saga Age of Magic.
The fantasy version of it. I gotta say, what put me off Saga, like so many games, I just struggle to find the time to learn new systems. I looked at Saga, I saw that sideboard mini game and thought, nah, I'm out. And it's obviously it's a big part of the game.
It's funny you say that because you like Warcry and that system, and I think that's all it is, but just with runes.
Right.
I think it's you roll a heap of dice and then allocate them to certain things. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've only played a demo once at Salute many moons ago, and I think that means if you've got 3 of this rune, then you can do that action. I think that's what it's like. Can you confirm or deny that, Duncan?
I think every faction's got a battle board, I think it's called, which is like, shared pool of common actions and then some specific actions for every, like special actions. And it's roll a handful of dice based on how many kind of active, powerful units you've got.
1 per unit sort of thing, dice per unit sort of jobby, do you think?
I think it's particular types give you particular dice. So there are different types of units like Hearthguard and warriors and creatures and so on, and they all generate different numbers of dice.
So it might be interesting actually.
How pricey are the rules? Because I've seen some people say that it's very pricey, and some people say that it's not badly priced, and obviously that depends on what else you're used to playing.
Highly subjective comment there, yeah.
The rulebook is expensive. It's nice. It's very well produced, but it's expensive. And then you've got dice on top of that.
And sideboards.
Magic dice. You get the sideboards with the rulebook. But yeah, you have to, it's a big buy-in if you want everything before you've even started.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's not just the complexity of the game. It's the nature of the channel is such that the way things tend to pan out is anything that I decide we want to do on the channel, I have to learn the rules and then teach to a level where I can teach somebody else, and that just makes it a really big time investment. Then,
yeah,
a lot of the stuff, especially like you play one game, you have a bit of a test of it, it's fine, but if you do actually like it, and you really need a range of people to play with who will question your interpretation of the rules. One of the things I'm getting very nervous about over time is that we play in this tiny little bubble and we've got the same rules wrong over and over because we've interpreted it this way 2 years ago, left it, moved on.
And it's stuck, yeah.
And it's just wrong. And what happens more in a club setting or in a tournament setting is somebody tells you. Saying, actually, mate, I don't think that works like that. You get the rule book back out.
Problem is,
some changes.
We are having that. I mean, we do make the same mistakes, and our viewers do correct us on the same mistakes, and then we forget that, ignore that, or whatever the hell happens, and then do exactly the same thing again. It's like we're hardwired, and we can't
to get things wrong. Yeah. I can't remember. Have you done battle reports, Duncan? I don't think you have you?
No, not on the channel. It's something I want to do, but no, not yet.
There's a lot more gear and time involved, isn't there? All right. Well, so guys, tonight we've got a couple of things. Obviously, we're going to chat to Duncan a little bit about some of the things that he's been doing. He's been doing it's got some interesting ideas around basing of units and so forth, and I quite like. I have got for you some pictures from Brush and Quill to talk about, and I've got some knickknacks that have arrived, which I was going to show you as well. Some stuff, some product.
I thought you meant crisps.
Battlefront, not Nobby's Nuts or something like that. So let's have a Todd from Battle Knights. Todd from Wardrobe Plays World War II, or The Robe, or Todd. Many names. When you're Johnny B, nothing is too expensive. That is very true. Matt Capella says, I'm definitely interested for some of the ancient games. SPQR seems pretty weak. Not sure about Mortal Gods. It seems like Saga needs a lot of extras. Right. SPQR was not a bad game. It just suffers from the problem that skirmish games often have, which is that you'll incline to blob in the middle, and it's a very, very unsatisfactory game when that happens. Because what it doesn't have, like a lot of more modern combat skirmish games, is it doesn't have interesting combat. It has a roll to hit, roll to kill, make a save, done with many, many models at once. And it's neither a rank and flank game nor an individual model game. It kind of sits in between. Mortal Gods has got a much more dicey combat game where different models roll different number of dice, and you compare swords with speed, with shields and so forth. It's just maybe a bit better design for a low level fight in the middle, because it's a bit more interesting and experience, I think, is the thing I would say. SPQR has got a very old school feel to it. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to think carefully about the scenario you play that prevents a blob in the middle with units that have got a lot of armor in particular and no lethality.
And if you like, Samurai Test of Honor uses the same rules as Mortal Gods, and you can pick it up in like 10 minutes. So easy to learn. Yeah,
but it is a game where you need to buy the starter set, which I assume Saga is the same. You need the dice, you need the tokens, you need the cards. You know, it's got a rule book like this. That's the tanks rule book, but it's a rule book like that, you know. But then you need all the gubbins, basically. So, would you like to see? Let's have some stuff in the comments. Would you like to see Callum's pictures? Would you like to see, or would you like to see the knickknacks? What would you like to see?
They're going to all comment. They want to see me in my pants.
No, they want to see John in his pants.
I was going to say, can you please stop saying my pictures? That makes it sound rather rude.
Nobody's got any interest whatsoever, it seems. It's not a single comment, mate. Boo!
They're working on it.
But they got bored of us already.
Do you reckon it's a delay?
Can you? We need to keep the knickknacks so we can escape Callum's pictures. Yeah. So I think let's open up with Callum's pictures, and then if it's a bit dodgy, we can just go straight to the knickknacks.
Okay, so if I open up a Callum's picture, pictures of knickknacks and pictures, people just being share screen window. This one, right? So here we go. Tell them the things, Callum. What are they looking at here?
So that's some French Fusiliers from their Warlord Games figures from the 95th Regiment of Line, which are painted up for Kaiser to do some chat pratique. Kaiser said he wanted a regiment that could have been everywhere, really.
Everywhere, mate.
Multi-format, and
I thought it'd be funny to do the 95th, and then I looked them up and they have been everywhere. So I presume different parts of the regiment, but they've sort of served since like the French Revolution, like the actual revolution bit, all the way through to Waterloo. So that's the Fusiliers.
So they fought in Spain, they fought in Germany, they fought in Russia. Yeah. Boom. Okay. So that's them. So they're on bases like that. Movement trays is a thing that we've been looking at with a view to being able to use not just the same models in multiple systems, but the same movement trays in multiple systems. All right. So what about this wee chappy here?
That's a grenadier there for you, sir.
Again, bearskin hat. Oh, look at that. So manly.
Yeah, with Warlord. Although I had a slight accident and part of him broke. So he's actually got a Victrix arm because his arm his arm snapped.
That's why one arm hand is very small compared to the other.
Yeah, like three of them you've got different arms because 3 of the sprues were really brittle. I don't know why. I had to like repair muskets on them and everything. It was really weird. I don't know if the plastic had gone off or something.
Did John help repair them thereby breaking?
Yeah.
There was a guy flexing them around here at one point, but I didn't get to see him. But yeah.
So this is more of the same, right?
Yep, more of the same. Yeah. Just more of a sort of a group shot. There is 8 of them, like with the others. Yeah. They're all done. Sans packs because I do the packs separately, as I said in my update. But what I do is I clip the cartridge cases off and the sabotage off as well, because all the plastic models come hanging on the rocks on the pack.
Yes.
Not on the cross belts. So I cut them off to put them on the cross belts.
And that's the same picture again, isn't it? All right. So that's that. Now, this isn't for me, but I thought these were cool and I thought these were worth talking about. So what have we got here, Callum?
So when I was doing my steampunk tank, I was looking for some steampunk figures. So I went to Ironclad Miniatures to get some steampunk figures. And these were in the same set, and these are armed staff. So you've got sort of going from left to right, you've got the cook, the maid, the butler, and the gardener stroke gamekeeper. I'm not sure what he's meant to be.
That's hilarious.
Love it.
But yeah, so I thought they'd be fun because I've got it's for my wife, so she could get into gaming with me. A women's army. So this is the staff that serves the Lady of the Manor.
Very nice. Matt Capelli says it's hard to type while he's trying to build the bloody history. Is that for Bolt Action, mate? Is that a metal one? Because if it is, you clearly haven't been watching this show carefully. That is a nightmare. Plastic Soldier Company do make one in 28mm, but it's really small. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's quite out of scale with my other cannon. Yeah, this one. So what I like about these is that you want to use these for like 18th century, don't you?
Yeah.
But these are Victorian miniatures.
Yeah. You don't look too closely at the guns.
They're definitely Victorians. And I love me a bit of Victorian Cthulhu. I do enjoy.
Oh yeah. I mean, they would fit in so well with like pulp figures from Canada and stuff like that. You know, they would fit in really well.
Yeah. And I think that these would be really nice for that. I just got a reasonable collection of miniatures for Cthulhu. Need to place them at some point.
I mean, I loved it just for the butler. I love the fact he literally looks like he just opened the door.
Yes.
Do it. I want to be the girl with the rolling pin. I want to be the maid with the rolling pin and get eaten by a shoggoth or something.
Yes. I'm always whenever you get a kind of manservant with a butler, I'm always got that Lara Croft movie moment where I can't remember even his name. The guy who plays Rimmer in Red Dwarf.
Rimmer, yeah.
Chris Barry.
The house is being invaded, and he appears in his pajamas, but with the pump action shotgun in a ballistic vest.
It's the fact
with his gym jams underneath.
It's the fact he stops to put his slippers on. No, I said
yes, Mom, ready to go.
I say in the thing that I always think back to the movie Clue with Tim Curry in it, and I bottle, sir. It's my favourite verb, bottle.
Yeah. That kit is a nightmare, mate. I'd offer to help. I can't. It's not here. It's boxed up. It doesn't work. Basically, it just doesn't fit together. You just have to glue the pieces and accept the gaps, and it's a nightmare. Friends of General Haig says which battalion? Presumably that's in relation to the Napoleonics.
That's him being a bit of a goit.
Right. Have they got even different collars and cuffs per battalion?
Not really. The differences between battalions are so small, you're not going to notice on a 28mm figure.
Tony Colton says the staff figures for the very British Civil War. So it's because it came up last week and mentioned it, and then I didn't kind of finish the conversation. So very British Civil War is something I'm quite interested in. Conceptually, I think John would probably be quite interested in it as well, to be honest, because it's that small warband thing. So
It's 1930s.
Yeah, the idea is very British Civil War. I'm not sure there's actually an official game system. When people start talking about it, you'll find millions of websites and so forth. But it's not really about the system, it's about the idea. And the idea is it's very much like sort of Gangs of New York, but set with the various political groups in 1930s England. So you might have Irish separatists and Irish unionists, but also a Chinatown gang, also communists, also all of these. Europe is a real melting pot at that period of different political ideologies, and in much of Europe they are fighting openly in the street, or they have done. And the idea is it kind of breaks out in England in the 1930s. So you might be like Mosley's fascists and things like that. And it's just, there's just so much variety to do there. And you've got all of that pre-war technology where the tanks and armored cars are crap, the tactics are poor, and it's all terribly, terribly British. And somewhere along the line is a couple of coppers with a truncheon trying to keep order in all of this. While, the communists fight some Chinatown gang with rifles and machine guns.
I was going to say, do you just walk into... I can't think what they're called now. They do all the stuff like 7TV and all those sorts of stuff. Like the Doctor Who figures that aren't Doctor Who figures.
Oh, Crooked Dice.
Yeah, that's it. Crooked Dice. Just walk in and go, I'll buy everything, please.
Crooked Dice is cool.
Yeah, I love them. I love their stuff.
That's another thing. I don't know anything. Their game, 7TV, or whatever it is, where it's like I feel like it might be my kind of thing also, because it's a film set and the miniatures you have are the cast and you got to do certain things. So I might have to have a little look at that. Have you played it or seen it, anyone?
I've played demos at Salute, and it is a war game by another name, but it's still fun because you're like this. Instead of your heroes, you have like the leading actor, and and then you have the minions, and stuff. So it's kind of fun. We actually played a Doctor Who one where we had to get the Doctor off the board whilst being chased by Cybermen.
Sweet.
Cybermen, so dangerous. They can handle stairs and everything. Right. Okay. Do I have any more pictures? I think I had some more. Oh, we got this. Boom.
What's that?
What's that, John?
It's your 1-mil army.
I don't know. What
is that?
Possibly some ants are fighting over.
You're doing it on your phone, aren't you?
That's Necron's on the right.
I've got it up there. Okay, so this is that new ass Imperium thing. This is that magazine, right? From Hachette.
This is that magazine from Hachette. Yeah. Speaking of Salute, happening this year, I believe November. It is, and I believe that we're not going because
November.
I think. Yeah,
November, but
only people who've already bought a ticket for earlier Salute. I think if you're going, and if you don't know, you're not going. I think is the idea. There's no tickets going on general sale, so far as I understand, which is a real shame. So we're going to send Callum with a huge shopping list, a big bag.
In all seriousness, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, mate, we're going to get you some saddlebags for your chair and everything. And
people put himself forward, put in the comments what you want.
Callum's going to dip it for you.
If people can get to Salute and you know me, let me know. We'll meet up beforehand because I get to the front of the queue.
Oh, you do that? I'm a poor benighted disabled guy. Let me in. I need a toilet.
Yep.
I'm disabled in the legs. And then they just let you walk in. Well, obviously.
So, Jason, I think if things change with COVID, if things get a lot better, then they might change that. But at the moment, it's basically just existing ticket holders are going to be honoured going forwards. I understand. Is that right? Anybody know any different to that?
I don't. I just hope they're keeping the Battle of Britain theme from they were going to do last year.
Yeah, but you have been contacted to say people who have tickets because you've already bought one, haven't you?
Yeah, I get them as soon as they go on sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Salute, just in case there's anybody in the States and watching who's no idea what Salute is a massive war games exhibition in central London. It's by far the biggest show over here. And then it's strictly a trade show. There's demo games and participation games, but they don't run tournaments or anything like that. And it's absolutely vast, runs over a weekend. Recently, it's been in the Excel Center, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wish they'd do like Comic-Con and have panels. That would make it good.
Well, space, I think. But it's an interesting thing that I want to think about sort of in the longer term is we just don't have American-style war game conventions in the UK. We don't do it. They don't tend to have panels. They don't tend to have exhibitors showcasing their stuff, and they don't tend to have tournaments anymore. And I think that there's probably a real space for that, and maybe we should start doing it. But that's like not a next year thing. That's a much longer term. Anyway, the picture. This is Warhammer Imperium for anyone that's interested. It's a weekly magazine. They've done it before. It was called something else. I can't remember.
Conquest.
Sigmar one.
Which was based, and then they did Mortal Realms, which was the Sigmar one. And this is what, if you remember Kev from the Hobby Corner, this is what he covers on his channel regularly. There's a magazine each week across 80 weeks. You pay 750 quid out of this. This is like £9 an issue, and it comes with the sprue. So across the nearly 2 years, you spend 800 quid and you get 1,500 quid's worth of models or whatever, that kind of idea. There is a magazine. It has lore and painting guides, and you get bits of paint and tools and so forth along the way. Subscription service. Coming out 25th in the UK. If you collect Necrons and Space Marines, this will be a good purchase. That's undeniably the case. If you don't, it won't be. And there's a lot of hype around this stuff and a lot of FOMO. If you don't want both of these armies, this is a poor investment, because the magazine is, it's there, it's written, but I don't know anybody that read it.
Do we reckon they're going to do the first one that's $199 again?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to do exactly that, because I think they've run a trial. It might have been $2.99, but you basically got the officer figure that comes with the £20 starter set. So it's already an officer figure that people have got millions of. It's not, you know what I mean? Its resale value is near nil. What's this? A couple of years ago, I went to a couple of very big VBC, very British Civil War weekend campaign events. Good excuse to use any suitable figures that you like. Yeah, I mean that's some things I like about it. I suppose I have some personal concerns about just how racist those kind of gangs can become, though. There are real issues around. It's all about identity politics is what that is about, and that gets a little bit dangerous. I think for me sometimes I'm a bit concerned. Frost and Fist, it would be cool to go to Salute. Yeah, but in the same way that I think it'd be awesome to go to Adepticon. You know, it's yeah. First one was $2.99. There we go. I always get the first couple issues just for the paints. Yeah, and that's well worth considering as well. I think that was all of those pictures. That was all the pictures. So the knickknacks I have to show you.
Because they know Duncan stuff.
Duncan didn't send me pictures.
Oh,
I think he's going to hold up some models.
I want to see those ships.
Well, you have to watch the videos. Yeah. So Duncan, have you got some models in front of you? If I put you on the big cam, can you showcase some of your stuff? Not me, you prat, Duncan. There we go. Look at that. Hey. Boom.
Let me show you the ship. So this is the ship. This is
Yay. Whoa.
So this is, it's not going to focus.
Tiny hands. That is a big boat.
That is a big boat.
So this is one of the XL ships for Kings of War Armada. This is the Orc. I think it's called Ripper Hulk. So yeah, I think it's 5 inches, 5x1. And I put that, compare that to some of the smaller ships. So this is I'm working on the bomb boats, which is the second smallest. This is a small scale, not a very small, and it is.
Oh wow!
You know, the scale difference is that's huge.
Are the very small ones a single piece?
Sorry, say again.
Are the very small ones single piece?
They're single base, but they're 2 ships on one.
Yeah, no, I meant but the actual ships themselves.
Oh, the actual ships. I think this one is the little cover to the kind of mouth piece is a separate piece.
Right.
Which sensible people wouldn't have glued on before they started painting, but I didn't.
And this just before anyone asked, this stuff is all resin, right?
Yeah, this is solid resin.
It is a
yeah, there's
lump
some
of
weight
resin.
behind it, and all the there's no rigging.
Yay!
And then all the sails are, I don't know if you can see it, they're built to actually kind of slot into each other. Yeah, so they kind of, there's actually pegs in the back of the sails to slot into the ones behind.
And being Mantic resin, then, did they fit?
That's a good point.
Not a single problem with this at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Okay. Well,
actually
that's...
the one thing I did have to do is, you see this one's got this giant wheel on the front, is trim the base of that wheel. For whatever reason, they've built it with the teeth that hang down over the front of the base. So you're supposed to hang this off the front of the base, but still it's built to basically ram into other ships. So you want to go up into base contact with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they did that, but I had to trim that off.
Right. Okay. So, and that's for Armada, which is essentially, as I understand it, black sails with bonus rules for fantasy ships. Right down to the fact that they include rules for you using the Black Seas models.
Yeah, there's a card pack, I think, which is basically like Kingdoms of Men, which is all the ships from Black Seas. But yeah, I think, and they're bringing out, I think, in July some magic cards and some flyers to go alongside, so that'll make it slightly different to Black Seas in the kind of core rules.
Yeah.
Gyrocopters and whatnot.
But it's definitely got that Man of War Dreadfleet feel to it. These are the other dwarven ships, orc ships. You know, giant spinning fists on the front of things and drills.
Yeah. Anything that looks like it might be screwing over Games Workshop Mantic are well into, right?
Yeah, basically.
But so are many of us. So gonna need a bigger table. So that's your Man of War. But what about this? One of the things that I remember, probably a few months back now, is you've done some 10 mil like Northwest Frontier stuff, and you multi-base them on round bases. They look really nice. Are you able to show some of them?
That's right. So I started this year kind of a bit of a 10 mil experiment, messing around.
Callum will be getting all fizzy now. He loves a bit of 10 mil, does Callum?
So that went from I started with the Romans.
Oh wow!
These are the Pendraken. Actually, no, these are Steve Barber Romans combined with some Pendraken kind of commanders for Warmaster Ancients.
Right.
They went together quite well and quite quick. But I've now got 360 barbarians to go up against them that I have to paint.
What? Just the one base?
No, but that's the minimum requirement for a barbarian army in Warmaster Ancients is 8 units of 3 stands each.
Wow.
And I've stupidly decided to put 14 on each base to get a real shield war. So that's a lot of work. But yeah, from that I went into, I play a lot of Lion Rampant and like those rule sets. So I picked up the Men Who Would Be Kings, which is the like colonial equivalent, that same designer. And yeah, so Pendraken have got a fairly small range of models for that period, but decided to give those a go, paint them up in 10 mil again, but base them as single units. So it's like a tribal unit of Afghan warriors, basically.
Okay.
You might be able to see swords and a mix of swords and muskets, and
that's pretty cool.
Cavalry. But I've attached the dice bases, so it's not particularly innovative, but instead of model removal, you
lose them, are you?
Dice in there.
I like diorama moves. I'd rather have diorama'd models with markers than model removal. I find the idea that units keep fighting when there's only 3 guys left out of 20, absolutely bonkers. That's not how it works at all. You know, horrific casualties are 10%. The actual model removal makes no sense whatsoever, to be honest. For me, but that's like different people like different things. But I do like the space to build a diorama base for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely got that. That's the Kings of War thing. So
Yeah.
you don't have the individual base; you've just got the footprint to work with, and it gets over one of those problems I've always had with kind of war games of the modeling for advantage thing. You know, there's a hand sticking out here. I can see that tiny piece of model or not. If you've got a set base for every unit, that's equal. If you can see the base, you can see the unit.
And just moving the units is very quick if they're all based.
Yeah,
you discover that you've got 6 models to move, not.
That's it. I was mentioning to you before. You've got I've been doing the same. If you've seen some videos of my line rampant models, I've done the same for those. So doing it with 28 mil, so unit of archers. So in line rampant, you've got 12 or 6 strength units. So if basically halve those down, so 6 or 3. So I've got some men at arms doing the equivalent.
Okay, yeah.
So 3 or 6. But I've got a thing as a war game. I don't have much space. I don't have much time. I haven't got much money, and don't have that many friends, to be honest, that play. So set up and tear down is really important. So playing a game of line rampant with 6 of these that go up onto the table in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
is brilliant. And when you move them, you only move in one model. Perfect.
We've got got a 40k game it's been coming out on Friday. I played James, and just trying to move a unit of 20 gene stealers is horrific because of the nature of the models. Trying to get them moving 20 guys, even the term. I think actually it was only a 10-man unit, but he's careful because he's done it before. He's backing each of the models in to the space like a fan. And he's like, okay, that is a bit pro, but that's a ridiculous amount of like mental energy and time going into moving this unit from here to there and stuff like that. So I really like that movement trays for dealing with those kind of problems. And again, it was one of my issues I had with SPQR was when we play, at some point you have to decant from the movement tray because it goes down to that which figure is fighting which figure thing. And I rarely find that brings any real enjoyment into a game. It adds nuance, but it's nadgeriness, not skill based, not narrative based, you know. But that was just me.
It does pull you. It does mean that obviously you can't necessarily reuse these for other games. That's always the thing that holds you back. Like 40 by 20 bases for everything. It's like you can reuse it and reuse it. But I've been looking for these 15 mil bears, basically for Dragon Rampant primarily, and it's going to be the same thing. So they're going to be on rounds. So I've got like whole regiments of dwarves ready to go with spears.
They are Dragon dwarfs because I've got some. I recognise them.
No, these are all battle valor. Actually, these are all.
Are they not?
Yeah,
those dwarves you just showed me. I'll have to look at them bigger now.
I'll send you a link, but let me find a good distance. But these are battle valor. You can tell because every sculpt is different, which is crazy for 15 mil. Like every face and every bit of clothing is different. But for that, I can get Dragon Rampant as a kind of core game for a campaign, but I wanted to build it so I could use it for other systems. I've got a few hex-based board games that I'm going to use those same 80 mil rounds on, so they fit in the hexes.
Okay.
And I was thinking,
hex. Are you talking like Mighty Empires type hexes?
Or Battle Masters, that kind of stuff, big big
Battle
classic.
Masters.
Basically, make my own cards.
Is that game that you play with Laura, Battle Masters, with the big?
No, it's a game I mentioned a little while ago. I got some halberdiers from them. It was an old MB game, and it was just big hexes and cards. I can only remember playing it a little bit, but ironically, I'm using these bad boys for Lion Rampant. They're not very historically accurate, obviously, because they're Imperial halberdiers. But there's 12 of them, and I'm going to use them for that. Yeah, man, fucking hell, Battle Masters. Oh,
So it won't
I
be
need to
necessarily
get
be that, but that kind of thing. I've got loads of board games which use similar systems, but also staring at my shelf of rule books the other day. Since these are all consistent size, when you look at kind of narrative battles and narrative events, say like, I don't know, you have a battle over a temple and one side escapes with the gemstone that you're fighting over. I can drop into loads of other different games that you wouldn't expect to drop into a fantasy campaign, but would work perfectly with this base, like Gaslands. So I could play this, like you have to escape on the chariots and you have the cavalry chasing you down.
Right.
With the consistent 80 mil length of the base, with the templates from Gaslands. There's a lot you can use this for that you might not necessarily go for. You know, if I was just doing a Dragon Rampant campaign, that would just be one game, but obviously keep it open to all those things, even like sci-fi rules and things that I'm playing around with.
Interesting idea. I think it's important to try and keep your games interesting, to try and move around what you do. Otherwise, you know, I think you stop painting at some point. You know, you get I've got my bolt action army. I play it most weeks, and you can get a bit stuck in a rut, I think, sometimes. Shall I show you the knickknacks then? Because it's also a little bit of a preview as to what's gone. Well, one of the knickknacks was this World of Tanks tank that I took out of the box, which I'm painting at the moment, partly because I just needed another Firefly for John's. But speaking of World of Tanks, I've got, look at that, mate. They do little dice packs. You're not
so
going to see this, are you, John? Look, they've got British
I can see
and
that.
Germans. And what's really, really cool about these, which I hadn't realised you'll like, so I'll show you in the British one. You don't just get the dice that you need, you also get a teeny weeny decal sheet to make tank cases with. Oh, that's not showing up very well.
Winner, chicken dinner, yoink. Yeet.
Will
I
it
think
focus
is what the kids
at all?
say.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
So you see, it's got like, this is for making tank cases, and you've got some words on there, and you've got some cavalry regiment stripes to put on the front of the tank. So it's for marking out your tank cases, which I think is a really cool little addition in a game's dice pack. So I've got these, and to that end, I got us some acrylic tokens. So we're going pro. These are the ones with the Velcro backs. So that's tanks. And then I got us for Team Yankee. These are dice and unit and tokens. Team Yankee. So that's
I never. We were
That's
just saying about that the other day.
The last
about
thing.
Playing a game. What's that? Starter set.
It's Hungarians, mate.
Hungarians?
Hungarian starter force. And well, I was hoping to get this video filmed tomorrow, but John's just turned me down. He said he's going to go dogging with his bent copper.
Dogging Menorah, man.
So it's that boom. That's how it is. It's how it is. So that's partly it's just a little bit of a preview of what's coming up. But definitely we'll be doing some more tanks soon. We'll be doing some more Team Yankee with those, and we'll be unboxing that Hungarian.
Are they through with Flames of War? Are they through the sort of the core forces now? Are we going to start seeing more of these little, the little countries like Hungary and Romania and stuff like that?
Releases, so they're doing the Axis miners at the moment, so they're doing Finns, Romanians, and Hungarians.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be other starter boxes. I mean, the reality of the Axis miners is they've mostly got their own infantry, their own little anti-tank guns, and some German equipment.
Yeah,
some. The only decent stuff they've got for late war is some German equipment. But the Germans didn't have enough for their own purposes, so they don't give a lot to these guys. So although the Hungarians have got a starter set, because they've made, you probably didn't see it The Zerini. So this is not science fiction, which is the other problem. If you play Bolt Action or something and you play a Hungarian tank, it's probably science fiction. This thing, the Zerini, oh no, that's a Marder. That's a Zerini. Is real. It did really exist. About 100 of them.
Just 100.
Yeah. But there are numerous designs. So the howitzer version was made. The assault gun. The tank destroyer version was never at a prototype. You know, like a lot of it, like Japanese tanks in Bolt Action, it's like most of these were on a napkin. Some of them were prototypes. There's like 2 of them went into production or something, which is a problem when you're trying to play a game where you're trying to provide some balance. So you often get a lot of that stuff thrown in. So yeah, they've done this with the Hungarians. They're releasing Finnish and Romanian anti-tank guns, flak, infantry, that kind of stuff. Which is quite interesting for playing the Axis miners. I hope they get it right. And if I could say this is a bit of a bugbear of mine, what I don't like about minor nations in mainstream war games is they tend to try and make them different and make them stand out and make them interesting in some way. And what happens is you suddenly find that for some reason 1939 Polish armored cars are the best thing in the game.
Right.
And the world is flooded with them and they just win lots of games with it. And you're like, this is mad. This is absolutely bonkers. This has got nothing to do with historical or war gaming. You know, I'm not saying that these things weren't good. It's just they weren't going to change the outcome of a battle.
There are other factors, aren't there?
So they should just stick in like the famous one, you know, as a elite one-off choice or something. There's a particularly famous Polish unit or something like that.
Yeah, but I think you'll find that these things may be elite for the Hungarians. That doesn't make them even vaguely capable by mainstream standards.
Yeah, but what I mean is if there was a unit, so say the British were a minor power, but the SAS, you'd have one. You'd only be allowed to take one SAS, but they were the things that made the British different from the Americans, as an example. I know that's not. You know,
you're right, Callum. And the thing is that is kind of exactly the sort of thing that they do. The problem is that every game you play against that army, they bring out this super rare, super odd unit, which is allowed to take an anti-tank rifle, 2 light mortars, and a heavy machine gun in a 5-man squad that's killed on 6s. And you know, and you're just going like and then in every game you have that unit. That's what you just said is exactly the problem. It's not that they didn't exist. It's not that they're not interested. It's that they just become a dominant force in the game, and that troubles me a lot.
Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you meant they could take 20 of those units. You know,
well, 20
opposed to 1. You know,
they still appear in every single game. Is what I'm saying. I guess you know. Whereas, because I'm just perfectly happy playing a guy with a different coloured uniform and a different helmet and saying that this is a Romanian. I mean, it's more problematic as soon as you start getting into point systems. They really exacerbate that kind of problem. But Bolt Action is a game that, because it's got a point system, every game, most people are going to bring a flamethrower. The armies that are really popular are allowed to take more than 1 flamethrower. So what's the problem here? It's not that they didn't have flamethrowers in World War II. It's that people didn't think what we really need to be more effective as an army is to have more flamethrowers, to maximize the number of flamethrowers in the rifle sections. Like that's something's gone wrong, hasn't it? You know, we should.
Well, that's just game versus what's it, isn't it? History.
Yeah, versus history.
Yeah. It's casual versus tournament again, isn't it? Casual game. Agree not to do that. Tournament.
Yeah, I think agreeing not to do that. Yeah, I think if you just rock up and play a guy with a game in a club, you should expect them to bring as many flamethrowers as they can. So, is the thing. Because we were talking about that. If you saw the army listing and where it causes problems for building, is for me is where it ends up kind of producing the same army every game. There is a right and a wrong way to do it, as it were, in terms of points efficiency. And when we were unboxing that Perry kit, there's a really good example of that. You never see a 2-inch mortar, a light mortar in bolt action. And it's not whether it's a good or a bad weapon. It's because in the army builder, it goes in exactly the same slot as a medium mortar. It's that or a medium mortar. And the medium mortar is probably one of the best point-for-point weapon systems in the game. So you just never see it. Interestingly, there is a Japanese unit that's allowed to have a squad of guys, all of whom have knee mortars, 2-inch, and you see loads of them. If you play Japanese. Like, no, again, we've got a silly unit here that, you know, just breaks the kind of envelope of the rules a little bit.
I thought they just took the whole bamboo stick bomb people.
Oh yeah,
true.
One point
That's
infantry,
well.
yeah, people like that, yeah.
That's why I like the sort of the halfway that you do it. It's not like we're going devout historical every unit, even down to like the names of the guys that were there. But like some of the missions that you do, they're like, well, this is the equipment they would have had available at that time. You know, like you were saying in one of the streams previous, like the Airborne, did they have 6-pounders out in army?
Yeah,
They
did.
They did.
Yeah. What was bugging me at the time, you know, we were talking about
that.
it was like I think he's called Hibbert, and he was the brigade major. He was at the bridge, and he was still alive. He may be dead now, but you know, he's done some fairly recent interviews and documentaries and so forth. He got captured, survived the war, talked a lot about it, and because he was there at the bridge and pretty heavily involved in the command and control of it, because he was the brigade major, I think, or the intelligence officer or something like that. But he's part of the headquarters staff there on the bridge, and he was talking about the 6-pounder ammunition problem, and that was what I was going to say. But how the hell did they get them there? But I don't think all of the Jeeps were trashed. I just think most of them were. Right. So they got a couple of 6-pounders, maybe 4 there, because they did hold off some Panzers, and it's more than just a Piat.
Are you sure? Because I watched that documentary. I'm pretty sure all they had was a Piat and an umbrella, mate.
There we go. Josh Wood, my French 750-point tournament list is 2 medium howitzers, a medium mortar, and 2 VB launchers. VB? What's a VB launcher, Josh?
Isn't that the French mini mortar thing?
The rifle grenades, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry.
Well, you never.
Rifle grenades. Yeah, I didn't know about.
We are so removed. We are so removed from bolt action tournament lists that we have no idea what you're even going on about.
That's a bolt action platoon. That's a platoon-sized action. It's got 2 medium howitzers. A medium howitzer in bolt action is like a 6-inch howitzer. You know, that is a big gun. It's medium by French mini mortar or rifle grenade. Yeah, I'd be interested in that, because rifle grenades is definitely one of the weapon systems that is missing from the core rules in bolt action. I'd be interested in how they work, because I saw some production figures on them in Military History Visualized, and they made millions of them. You know, clearly, a lot of them were used. A lot of them were issued.
Can you throw grenades in bolt action?
No.
I just asked because I know that came in and went out on 40k a lot about throwing grenades.
Yeah, like proper as an individual weapon system. You used to be able to like throw. Even now, you can like throw a grenade. But yeah, they haven't got that. The only grenades you've got is anti-tank grenades, which essentially allows you to assault a vehicle with some confidence and not have to worry about, I don't know, pissing on an important engine component or something to try and make it go wrong.
I suppose giving every squad, 10 mini explosions makes them overpowered.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that'd be good though.
What?
The whole assault thing in bolt action, you're like, it's quite difficult. It is a powerful thing, but you're assaulting. What game was it? I had a unit. It had like 6 pins on it. You charged me, and everything was fine. They just got up and fought you, I wonder if like having grenades in an assault would negate stuff like that, or changes it somehow so you get an upper edge. I wonder if that would be worth. I'm hoping Alessio is going to be watching this. And,
so there is the particular problem that you're talking about, and I think it happens to us more than it happens to other people, because we play bolt action largely with rifles and machine guns, not with flamethrowers and katushkas.
Yeah, true.
So we have that problem in particular, that some units in hardcover with 10 guys, they just won't die. They got 5-6 pins on them. They've become completely ineffective, but you can't finish them off, because if you try, what you think is at this point, I'm going to charge this unit and they're just going to surrender because they're absolutely suppressed to hell. So no, in bolt action, they all just stand up, fix their bayonets and stab you all.
Yeah, come on, man.
They fight simultaneous. There's still 9 of them. They're fine. You know, and there isn't something that forces that morale test. And to get a unit, saying bolt action, if you've got more pins than your original morale, you destroyed. It's saying with rifles and machine guns, getting to 9 pins takes a lot of time.
Well, I suppose that's why you see the
heavy
5-man units, right? Maximized 5-man units.
Yeah.
Just to get as many shots as you possibly can. Yes.
Yeah.
Josh Wood has commented about the old VB launcher.
Yeah, so again, that's HE, isn't it? So it's got a thing about it. Right. Anyone want to add anything? We're coming towards the end of the show. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to get Duncan to tell you all, remind you all who he is and where you can find him and what he's doing and what's coming out soon. Tell him the things, Duncan.
So my channel's Duncan FX. I'm also around on Discord quite a lot, in a lot of groups. If you want to kind of reach out and give me a shout. I'm currently just finishing off my Lion Rampant stuff. I've got a big new order of Claymore castings to paint it up, and I'll be doing some showcases of that and some. I like to do videos that cover the whole range so that people buying them can see what they're going to get.
Nice.
Trying to finish off these 10mm barbarians. That's going to take me until Christmas easily. And then, I've got the Orc fleet for Kings of War Armada, and then a Dwarven fleet that came yesterday to get started on.
Very nice. Where do we get up to with our hobby? I got bronze green on 2 fireflies. Tell us about pick them up.
I put the wash on the 2 that I was working on, and then I've got 2 other dudes, 2 other Legionnaires that I'm also working on. So I did a little bit more on those. So that's pretty much where I got to. Not a massive amount. You, Callum?
I got the green, or the first layer of green. One of these days I'll learn where the camera is. On
the Wobot.
On the thing. So, yeah.
I didn't realise they had mechs in Land.
They've just basically introducing Drop Zone. They're introducing basically Titans in the next expansion.
Oh.
So I'm just going to jump on the model. Yeah.
Nice.
My mate keeps beating me, so I thought if I take that, I might win.
You never know. You never know. Duncan, were you doing any hobbying tonight?
Duncan?
My bears are washed, all 12 bears, and I started some dry brushing on some ships.
Oh, a bit of dry brushing. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Videos coming up next week. We are going to have the Eccentric Man on the show. Eccentric Man, interesting story. We went to Lost Art Games in Stevenage and we met him. This was all pre-COVID. We started chatting. We were in there a couple of weeks ago, reminded the store owner, put us in touch. He's going to come on, talk about the things. And among for fans, he's almost entirely historical stuff. He's obviously Eccentric Man, does great battle reports. He tends to do the end of round stuff with his phone, rather than the completely uninterrupted every dice roll, everything that we do, which I know is a bit long format for a lot of people. But he's really nicely painted models, nice boards, really enjoys his history. And he also runs Bolt Action Tournament a couple of times a year, which would be interesting to talk to because they run 2 different ones. They run a narrative one where he checks the army list and says, that's cheese, go change it. And then they run an unedited version where you're going to get all of these crazy ones. So that's quite an interesting mix of the two. You know, as he plays the competitive side of it, and he likes the narrative side of it. Nice mixture, you know. And he loves his history. That's that. On Friday, we've got Warhammer 40k, Tyranids versus the Death Guard army. Mr. James Workshop. First time on the channel for Tyranids. Watch those guys have some complicated weapons, I tell you. The difference is between this and that. It's just a big black thing with that. But it's like, what's that? It's like how many finger attacks? I think that's 24 shots. It's like, how that doesn't even look like it's got a gun.
Just a mouth.
It's just
crazy.
Strangler worms and things. Just that boom. And then we have recorded the campaign update for SPQL. We've leveled up our warbands. That's out on a preview to members, so will probably come out next week. And the Team Yankee game you haven't seen yet either, I don't think. So that's probably going to be out next week as well. The Americans versus Soviets. You're looking confused.
Oh, yes. No, I was just trying to remember it. That's all. I was like, what Team Yankee game? I don't recall. No, I do recall. Yeah,
now you do. And that's what reminded us that we didn't have these because we played a game and we got tokens and stuff, but they're all World War II. Yeah. I was like, right, let's get some that we can use stuff. Also. But you'll notice the iconography. You can use these for either. See, they're not World War II badges. They're generic national badges. Right. What's that sub coming on today? 73 says, great show. Of course it was, mate. Of course it was. Duncan FX, it was a real pleasure having you on, mate.
Thank you.
I say it often, but maybe I don't say it often enough. I never invite people onto the show whose stuff I don't actively watch. I may not always comment, but I really do like this stuff. You guys, highly recommend. Go over, check his stuff out. There's a wide range of things, scales, historical, fantasy, you know, and there's not long waffly videos. They're like, this is what I'm doing. Boom. It's nice. It's some good stuff.
It's like take 5 every time I record. That's why.
And he's doing all this with a real job and a 2-year-old kid keeping him awake at night. So all right. It's been a real pleasure, guys. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Duncan.
Bye.
Thanks.